Joseph, favored son of Israel.
The road to Emmaus. On the third day after Jesus' crucifixion, 2 of his disciples were going to the village of Emmaus. While they walked and questioned each other, Jesus himself came near and walked with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him.
What are we going to do now?
I thought he was the one. Why are you walking and talking so sadly?
Don't you know the things that have happened recently in Jerusalem?
What things? The things concerning the prophet, Jesus the Nazarene. The priests and our rulers crucified him.
But we were hoping that he would redeem Israel.
And now it is the 3rd day since these things happened.
Also, some of the women from our group said that he was alive.
Foolish people. Didn't the prophets write that the Son of Man had to suffer these things in order to enter into his glory? Beginning from the law and the prophets, he explained to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. This is just one of the stories Jesus could have told. Consider the story of Joseph! Greetings, Bible nerds! It is I, your friendly neighborhood Christian comic artist, artsy Bible nerd, here to bring you another drawing session of page number 19 of Joseph, favored son of Israel. How's everybody doing? I'm having a pretty good day. Can't complain. Let's see. Talking about yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. Took my son to play his baseball game. Watched that. That was pretty awesome. Oh, speaking of sports, on last Sunday, so the Phillies were playing against the Boston Red Sox yesterday, and they won. They won for the first time in a very long time. I know that they were in the World Series last year, but don't tell them that. I'm sure that they remember. Apparently they don't remember how to play like they were in the World Series last year. But they did win a game against Boston. Boston Red Sox. Red Sox. And then another Philadelphia team won a game against another Boston team in dramatic fashion at the buzzer, actually before the buzzer went off, because that's how you're supposed to win basketball games, is before the before the buzzer goes off. And the Celtics took a shot not before the buzzer went off. The shot was too late, which means they're tied up 2-2. It's a nail biter, folks. It's a nail biter. It's expected to be close. I would expect it to be close because they both have very similar records. The Celtics are the second team in their division, in the conference rather, and the Sixers are the third best team in the conference. I'm guessing it's going to come down to a Game 7, down to the wire, down to the last shot. Game 7. You heard it here. You heard it here. I'm not going to bet. Oh, I have no idea what happened in the Kentucky Derby yesterday, Saturday. I used to care. I used to actually watch it. Not that I'd have any money to bet on it. So I'm listening to this podcast. It's the Bible Project. You know, the guys who make those videos about the Bible. They also have a podcast. And this podcast has been starting out pretty slow. Wasn't sure where they were going with this. And I finally got surprised. I finally learned something that I hadn't known. The reason that God works with man, the reason that God... And trust me, it took a long time for them to get to this point. There's a lot of talk going on because, you know, it is a podcast. That's what podcasters are supposed to do, is talk. They talk about how it is surprising that God allows cities. God, you know, at first wanted a garden. At first wanted Adam and Eve to live in the garden, raise the garden, tend to the garden, live in the garden. Cities were not in the plan. But then, man became sinful. Cain became the first murderer, and he said, you know what, I don't want people to avenge me, so I'm going to build this city with walls around it to defend myself from anyone who's going to avenge me killing my brother. So I'm going to, in essence, he created the first city that way because of his fear. And Dr. Timothy Mackey, PhD, says that all cities stem from the fear of being attacked. All the cities with walls, the walled cities of the time, came from the fear of being attacked. But God can work with that. God has to work with that. If he wants to work with mankind, he has to work with our sinful... He has to make concessions in order to work with us at all. And that's the part that blew me away. Like, I guess I knew that, you know, intrinsically, without actually thinking about it. Like, if anyone is going to make it out of this earth, out of this realm after Jesus comes, we need a lot of forgiveness, right? But for some reason, hearing it out of Dr. Timothy Mackey's PhD's mouth made me gasp. Gasp. Are you serious? What about all the commandments? What about all the thou shalt not?
Ba, ba, ba. Alright, so I did not finish these lines when I was drawing them, so I have to figure out what I really want to happen here. There's always that wrist bump, wrist bone on the pinky side of the wrist. I'm not sure about that knuckle. Let's take away this knuckle, shall we? Let's go back to the pencil. Layer. So I'm sculpting. I'm figuring out the large lines. This is where the gaps between the fingers are going to go. And then we have knuckles. We have little bulges over here. And then we can't forget the webbing between every hand. Most typical hands, that is, have webbing in between the fingers. And then we have veins going from the wrist in between the knuckles. There is no rhyme or reason for where the veins go. Don't forget the thumb. And there's a vein that goes to the thumb as well. Sometimes these veins cross each other. And then by Jove, I think we've got it. All right, let's do some shading. Let's do some of this, all of this.